Hello, Kaden. Thanks for coming in today. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. So let's get to the questions.
Sounds good.
Can you just tell me about yourself real quick?
So, my name is Kaden. I'm from the Linwood, Washington area. That's where I was born and grew up. I attended Meadowdale High School, graduated in 2016. I'm currently at Western Washington University, about to graduate with a bachelor's with an emphasis on movement studies. And then I will be attending Bellingham Technical College in order to obtain my bachelor's in nursing science.
Sweet, sweet. Sounds good. Why did you decide on a career as a nurse?
So originally, my plan was actually to become a physical therapist, but some things changed, and I was actually talking to one of my aunts, and she brought up the idea of becoming a nurse, and this was probably like 5 or so years ago. And just the idea of being able to help people every day and build relationships with both peers and the patron, well, I guess you could call them patrons, but the people who come in to the hospital, it's just it just really made me excited to work in an environment like that.
Cool. How when did you make that switch from physical therapy to nursing? Was that like while you're
So
at Western or
yeah,
before Western?
so originally my freshman year I was pursuing physical therapy, but I had actually spoken to quite a few physical therapists and people, doing internships at physical therapist office, and it seemed like a lot of desk work, and I was looking for something more hands-on and actually building relationships with other people. And so originally I wanted to be a physical therapist because I wanted to help people. That was really the root reason, as well as, love for anatomy and sports and all that sort of stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, so my freshman years of college is when I kind of changed paths.
sweet. What do you find rewarding about this job?
The thing I will find most rewarding is definitely helping people. My grandfather, who is sick and he's actually living in a home, I was taking care of him for about a year or two, and that started in 2017. And yeah, there was just something really rewarding of bringing a smile to his face, when he's having a bad day, and being able to make them feel comfortable and safe and that there's somebody looking out for them. Those are all, really big things that I'm excited to, do in the field.
Some great field experience right there.
Yeah, right.
um, how do you deal with someone who isn't satisfied with your patient care?
The way I would deal with somebody who isn't satisfied with my care is I would try to figure out what I'm doing wrong in their eyes, and I would try to fix it, any way I possibly could. Whether it's talking to other nurses about, maybe they've dealt with this person before, and if there's something in particular that they like or dislike, and in a scenario where they're still dissatisfied with my care, I would reach out to maybe another nurse and see if they would be willing to take it over, because as a nurse you're really, um, in my opinion, you're emphasizing other people's care, and if somebody just can't get over something that I'm doing wrong, or they feel like they're not comfortable with it, I mean, the best way to go about it would probably be get somebody else to do it, just so they're comfortable.
Oh, totally, totally. Tell me what you feel your greatest skill as a nurse is.
My greatest skill, in my opinion, is definitely speaking with other people, being kind and friendly and kind of being able to read their mood and how they're feeling, as well as my knowledge of anatomy. And that has been by far one of my favorite classes of all time, learning about the anatomy and physiology of the body. And I think, the combination of those two is kind of what being a nurse is all about.
Oh, totally. How do you handle the stress of the job?
I personally don't get stressed out that easily. Just in my experience, I've, dealt with a lot of situations, with my grandfather where my grandmother was with me at the time, and she was very stressed about this behavior that started going on, and we were able to, well, I was able to kind of recognize it and then sort of deter him from this, behavior. And yeah, stress just doesn't really get to me. And if stress were to get to me, I would probably handle it best by taking like a 30-second breather and just being able to get back into the situation, whatever that may be.
That sounds good. Are you comfortable working with other doctors and nurses?
I'm very comfortable with working with other doctors and nurses. On top of being in an environment where I'm helping people, I'm also very much looking forward to being in a learning environment where there are other doctors and nurses there that I can learn from, and maybe they can learn something from me. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that sort of environment.
Totally. What do you find is the hardest part about being a nurse?
I think personally, the hardest part about being a nurse will most likely be dealing with death. I have always kind of either wanted to do geriatrics or emergency room nursing. And I think dealing with someone's death in the work environment will probably be the hardest thing for me. But at the same time, I have dealt with death a lot in my past. And I think that is one of the most resilient characteristics that I have is being able to deal with that, because bodily fluids, blood, everything else, they don't bother me at all. I do think that death at first, the first couple times it happens, it might be a little bit stressful, or I might take that stress home with me. But I think I will definitely be able to get used to that sort of situation.
Why are you the best candidate for this position?
I feel that I'm the best candidate for this position because I'm very, very caring and I'm very passionate about learning and taking care of other people, as well as I will have two bachelor's degrees when I apply for a nursing job, one in movement studies and one in nursing science. And I feel my education background is very, very strong, and additionally, I am a personal trainer right now. And so, in that
Interesting.
sense, I'm already building rapport and building relationships with people, helping them in whatever way I can, whether it's giving them advice or spotting them. I feel like that's going to be a almost direct transfer into the nursing environment.
Cool. Are there any specific like populations of people you would like prefer to work with, or any type of like what part of the hospital you'd prefer to work with, and then why?
Yeah, so off the top of my head, I would say my number one would probably be emergency room. And that's kind of comes from the idea that I wanted to be an EMT at first, but I just felt like that sort of lifestyle wasn't really fit for me. But I do really well under pressure, and I feel like in an emergency room setting there would be a lot of pressure. People who are in very serious situations, they need people's help, and they need people who are calm and collected and able to perform under pressure would be the biggest reason. And the reason that geriatrics would probably be my second choice is because, like I said before, I have experience, dealing with my grandfather, and I've just always been told by older people that I'm so kind, and I just feel like that really kind of struck a chord with me, and especially for the geriatric population that's getting very close to death, I feel like I would be able to, you know, leave a positive impact on their day, and that would be one of the most rewarding things as well.
Okay, cool. What is one strength of yours, and then what is one weakness of yours?
I would say one strength of mine is dedication. From working at the rec center, I was organizing events outside of my job. I was volunteering for all sorts of different functions that went on at the rec center. Like that includes late night at the rec, the Olympic weightlifting competition, the powerlifting competition, which I orchestrated with a few of my peers. And I would say one of my weaknesses would probably be um, just kind of focusing on the little things for maybe a little bit longer than I need to. For example, I might be working on, organizing something on paper for hours at a time when I should be, doing other things, like whether that's schoolwork or something else involving my job. Yeah, probably paying, spending too much time looking at the details would probably be my biggest problem.
Sweet. So the last question is, what you think could be a possible challenge for you in your specific nursing career, and then how do you think you would overcome that?
So, dealing with something like that in the field, I would first off evaluate what's going on and what might be going wrong. And I would try to address it, and try and take care of it by myself if that was possible. But I'm also not afraid to ask for help. If I need the help, I'm going to ask for it. And being in a hospital surrounded by other nurses and doctors would be, a great time to ask for help, maybe learn from it, you know, be able to take what they taught me or showed me and apply it next time so we wouldn't have that situation ever again. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would deal with something like that.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thank you for coming out today. It was good
Awesome.
to
Thank
meet
you
you.
so much for having me.
Yep, no problem.
Word. All right. Lastly, I would just like to say thank you for this opportunity and interviewing me. I am very excited to hear back from you on your decision, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.